Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Mind your business. Only on Money FM 89.3.
Welcome to Mind Your Business. Do you feel stressed when making a financial decision? Yes, indeed. Or perhaps you feel like you have any unmet financial needs? Yes, indeed. Now, if you've also answered yes to these questions, you're clearly not alone. According to a survey by GXS Bank, 32% of Singaporeans still feel stressed when making a financial decision, and 2 in 5 have unmet financial needs. So despite boasting one of the most advanced financial sectors in the world, why doesn't everyone here find banking accessible or tailored to their needs? To find out how banks can step up to better serve their consumers, we're pleased to welcome to the show Jenn Ong. She is the Managing Director and Head of Retail for GXS Bank. Good morning, Jenn. Thank you for coming on.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, you commissioned a Progress Quotient 2024 survey which studies the relationship that Singapore consumers have with their money. First and foremost, what was the genesis behind why you wanted to put this survey out?
Oh, simple. To understand what consumers are thinking. I think if you think about banking, we kind of thought that customers know what are the savings and the lending products and the housing loans out there. But we have to understand that the economy is made out of different segments. We know that Singapore economy is changing in terms of the employee workforce. We are getting more gig. We are getting the fractional job seekers. We are getting new jobbers who are going into the workforce. So now if we are saying that we want to serve them, we need to understand how they feel about banking, how they feel about spending, how they feel about savings. So the background to it is to ensure that we don't have a one-size-fits-all banking product. We have to ensure what is relevant for people who need it most.
So the natural follow-up to that would be, why are people displaying conflicting emotions when it comes to how they handle their money?
Yeah, I think it's understandable, really depending on which segment you're talking about. If you're thinking about the mature, established, salaried workforce, I think they're a little bit more confident. But if we're thinking about the gig, the underserved, the new jobbers who are coming into the working industry, they will not, at least based on the study, they are not very optimistic about the future when it comes to finances. Why? If you think about it, prices have increased, cost of living has gone up. Now they're thinking, if I need to do better, if 5 years later I want to have a home, 10 years later I'm going to start a family, how do I start? So that's the thinking behind it. So we want to inculcate the right thinking into financial services from the get-go. So want to start saving. It's not like, put in 50,000 for a start. We are saying that, hey, if you want to start at 500, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that then, the role of digital banks like GXS in what is a fairly crowded financial landscape, well-established banks that you're competing up against. How would you say that digital banks in general, as well as GXS, differentiate themselves from traditional banks in addressing financial accessibility? Yeah,
I think I'll put it into two broad categories. One is to really, I know it's cliche to talk about it, but it's customer obsession. One of them is that if you do not have this in your DNA, it's very, very difficult to go there and clinch the market share that you want. The other one, which is very strongly driving factor for GXS, is the fact that we are actually backed by Grab and Singtel. If you think about Grab and Singtel, at least in Southeast Asia, great parentage, a great base, everyday app, super app. Now, if you think about it, how then do you put it together in the consumer's hands? So if you have a utilitarian app, you have something that you go into the app every day. Now, if you imagine putting a banking product within the app itself, it actually combines end-to-end. It covers that financial need of that consumer, right? From your everyday hailing of taxi to paying your phone bills to going overseas and have data. And then you have a bank there. I think these two are really, really key for our success and showing.
You're embedded in the Grab app, which is fantastic. Now, you touched on the word market share, and I want to dive into that. If you were to hazard a guess, or if you know what your market share is in this space, what would that be, or how have you grown in the last 5 years since you received your license from MAS?
Yeah, so we received our license in 2020, but when you started building the bank, we actually had to start slow. So we started with a deposit in 2021, and then in 2020, late 22-23, we had a lending product. Now, as you rightly mentioned, this is a really highly competitive market, but we are proud to say that from a lending perspective, we are now number 6 in the hierarchy.
Okay.
So I think we have done really well. I think exponentially we have grown ourselves year on year. So yeah, I think it can only get better because we do have new products coming up as well as we speak. More and more stuff are coming up in fast release. In the next 2 months, you'll see something. 3 months later, you're going to see something. So that's how we're going to scale.
Yeah, let's talk about how you've tweaked some of your service offerings in the face of healthy competition that you find yourself in, and what kind of focus you have demographically.
Yeah, yes. So, when we started out, and we still do have that mantra to serve the underserved. Really, I think underserved is something where, if you think about Singapore, sometimes people find it hard to say, are you sure they're underserved in Singapore, if you think about it, right? But, it varies. Underserved is a different definition, but people are thinly served, right? There'll be a segment of customers who the banks don't really, or rather the financial institution may not put too much focus on them. Because at their speed in life or how they're progressing in life, at this point of view, they're not very, in the sense, valuable in that sense. Valuable, but not that super valuable, right? But we know that these people will grow. That's why we talk about the underserved, the new to jobbers. They start small. But come on, in 10 years, we all started this way. 10, 15 years later, that's how we established.
Yes.
So we want to ensure that we get it right from the get-go. It's a feeder. It's a feeder to us. This is the population that we want to serve. This is the population that we want to be loyal to us. And they're digital savvy. I don't think anybody, at least when we talk to our consumers, they have not even stepped into a bank. Unlike, at least for myself, when I first started banking, I have to step into the bank to queue up to do everything. But we are digital. So we are saying that we need to get these people onto the digital footprint and understand that banking is very different going forward. So this segment is important. We are going to serve them. We have to serve them right. With the right products, we have to make sure that they benefit. Dollars that put into the bank, borrowing they need to do, we just have to be upfront, clear, let them know what they're getting into.
Yeah, so 2 new entrants, I think, that you are currently serving now, part-time workers and gig economy workers. There's been a proliferation of these 2 sub-segments. Can you talk about how their entrance into the market has shaped how you perceive this whole landscape? Yeah,
I think if we think about it, the crux of it is the fact that these people do not have a stable income. They do not. It doesn't mean that every month, if I do 3,000, I'm going to get 3,000. But the fact that they are gig and part-time workers.
Yep.
So you can imagine if we'll take now rainy weather, I can't get my car out to drive.
Yes.
Heavy traffic, I'm going to miss 2 hours of income or wages. I'm going to be stuck in traffic.
Correct.
Now, when they have irregular income, then it becomes very difficult for them to say that, hey, my monthly salary is so much. Traditionally, if you need to borrow some money, you need to show stability in income. And that's how it works. But we are saying that, guys, we understand how the consumers work, and because we have ecosystem data, it really doesn't matter. We know ways, or rather we have ways of using data to make an informed choice and to be able to help the consumers. So, but we'll start low. It doesn't mean that you come in for a 5,000, we'll give you a 5,000. But if you need to start with $1,000 loan, then let's do it. Because after all, if you're in Grab and Singtel, we know how you are, your behavior and all. So in that sense, that gives us additional data when it comes to understanding the consumers.
Yeah, so let's dive into your offerings a bit more. You recently opened up a flagship savings account to new customers on a first-come, first-served basis, raised the deposit cap to $75,000 per account. Now, that account was previously only for selected Grab and Singtel customers, and each depositor could store only up to $5,000. Can you elaborate a little bit more on this new initiative?
Yeah, because we started small, we wanted to ensure that what we bring out to the market, we know that it works. That's the reason why when we first started out in the market, to your point, it's like 5,000 or 10,000 ecosystem customers.
Correct.
We are always in this mission to understand every point of the way what needs to be improved. That's how we started. Once we have everything done, very happy with how the product is functioning, with what the market is saying, we then went out to say that, guys, you know what, now you can have a bigger pot. So you can bring up to 75,000. The interest is calculated daily. So you don't have to wait till month end to see how much interest I've earned.
Right.
Within the app itself, every day you would know that, I left my money inside and today I've earned $2. It is great. So from a underserved or rather the community who is trying to be confident about financial independence, being to see the savings every day gives them that to say that I'm doing the right stuff
in real time.
So that's why, that's why we have done it, and it's really great. And recently, besides this, we also launched a time deposit. It is a time deposit in everybody's mind. We call it the Boost Pocket. So
Okay.
boost, the way it suggests is that you can actually, if you have extra money, put it in because the interest rate is going to be higher. And don't worry if you have to pull it out,
Right.
because even if you break that boost pocket, you still get the base interest. So if you think about it, it's very customer centric.
Okay, so there's no minimum period required for you to park the money in there.
Yeah, because of the fact that you are allowed to pull out any time without
Yes.
penalty. So it doesn't really matter, right? So in the sense, customer can choose a month, 3 months. You can do auto renewal. So that is for traditionally people want to have tenure. But if you think about it, you pull out, you still earn the base interest. So in a sense, it really doesn't matter.
Okay, are you doing anything to empower entrepreneurs to grow as well?
Yes, this is also very close to our heart. So we are going to serve the entrepreneurs. We are going to serve the self-employed, and this is the next phase. So I was hinting to say that in the next 3 months you will see
Right.
something from us. It's a very, very important segment as well. I mean, to my mind, they are thinly served or underserved. If you think about hawkers and all, irregular income,
Yes.
they don't go to the bank, and now it's proliferated with payments from your QR, your scanning and all. We need to educate them. We need to centralize where their savings can be. So great area that we want to go into and serve.
So you're keeping tight-lipped on the details
Yes,
for now.
For now.
Let's talk about your personal experience. You've come from fairly established names, the likes of MasterCard, HSB, DBS, pretty big companies, right? And you've moved over to GXS, which is, by comparison, a smaller company.
Yeah.
So going from large to small, the adjustments that you had to make in terms of your leadership, in terms of the challenges that you've encountered.
Great question. Yes, I have had the opportunity and privilege to work for big companies. I've gained a lot of experience from a leadership style. You deal with different demographics, different age group, matrix reporting and all. Coming into GXS is really, really, because I'm really passionate to start that digital banking from a get-go, because how many people can say that they started a bank from scratch? And I'm also in a life stage where my kids are that age. They are already 19, 20. I want them to understand that digital banking is the way. So that's how I got into the digital banking space. Smallish for now, but we are backed by Grab and Singtel. We will only get bigger. In terms of leadership style, I think it's important to understand that different people work at different speed, absorb things differently. So you have to understand that we have employees and staff from different age group, different thinking, different background. So one may be able to be left alone. One may need to be micromanaged. So I think the most important thing from a leadership skill is that you have to understand your employees. You have to understand that if this one needs 3 sessions to understand the objective and the other one need 1, then go ahead and do it. But the multiple people coming in, bringing their experience and thinking is the one, to me, is that bullet that help us understand and grow. Our staff are young. I mean, we are talking about underserved, we are talking about new jobbers and all. We need this kind of staff members in our team to teach us what is right. I mean, like you say, where I come from, my thinking maybe 30 years ago, right?
Yes.
But I need to be able to adapt and be agile. You need to be open to understand what the youngsters are saying. Yeah, to me, last time working 5 days a week, stable income is the way to go.
Right.
Now when you talk to youngsters, it doesn't work this way anymore.
Yeah, the world has changed. So I guess you take a horses for courses approach when
Yes.
it comes to dealing
Yeah.
with different sets of employees. Final question. What is the most important piece of advice you would give to aspiring entrepreneurs and business leaders today? If you could just leave us with that.
I think one thing, if is good to have start with a side hustle, which is great. Proper planning, proper cash flow management. Think longer term. You're going to start something, don't think about, 3 months, whether I have the capital to start in 3 months. But you know that business is in the long haul. So make sure that, if you need to find leverage, if you need to find funding and sourcing, check out the real terms and conditions. Make sure that you are not going to get sucked in more than you want
Right.
to. So that's very important. Yeah. Think long term. Yeah.
All right. Think long term. Jenn Ong, Managing Director, Head of Retail, GXS Bank. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.